Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Today is an exclusive webinar where we'll explore the benefits of ShareFile Premium and how it compares to our other editions. Whether you're a current user and perhaps considering a different plan, or whether you're brand new and evaluating ShareFile for the first time, this session will give you a clearer understanding of what sets our premium tier apart. You might already know ShareFile. ShareFile makes it easy to stay safe and secure while sharing large or sensitive documents, simplifies your workflows with multiple files across multiple stages or touch points, and also provides a very easy to use experience for your clients. While these core benefits will follow our users across all editions of ShareFile, there are some powerful features, some new and some old, that are unique specifically to our Premium edition. So, what is the big deal with ShareFile Premium? Well, to really boil it down into a couple key points, it comes down to integration, automation, and compliance. ShareFile Premium offers the most comprehensive compliance levels to reduce your risk and ensure cybersecurity, errors and omissions insurance, and any other kind of compliance you might imagine, including options for HIPAA, SEC, and FINRA regulatory compliance, knowledge-based authentication for IRS compliance, and even an AI-driven secure share recommender. On the automation front, ShareFile Premium includes the tools and features to suit your workflow and take out manual steps, including built-in e-signatures, a catalog of templates and integrations, and even all-inclusive projects that include assignment of tasks, document request lists, information request lists, form data, and data tables. And on the automation side of this, of course, this saves time and reduces the errors that we tend to make as human beings when we repeat the same process over and over again. And we take care of this by expanding our third-party integrations, which has been an area of much focus, as well as allowing you some automated processes, again, just to take that manual element out, and even create a doc request list generation completely powered by AI. So what does any of this mean? Well, let's take a look at both our more internally focused organization workflows as well as our external or client-facing workflows. So when we talk about workflows, one of the first ones that comes to mind is electronic signature. This is something that many of our customers have used a number of different tools for over the years, and this is actually built into ShareFile Premium, even more tightly integrated than what you may have seen in years past. So what we're looking at here is a tab in our navigation bar labeled Signatures. Here we can monitor all of our signature requests. So as a standard user, I'm going to look at everything I've sent out, signature workflows that I'm administering. If I'm an e-signature administrator, I also have the option to toggle on and off my admin view, where I can monitor all of the e-signature flows on my account, including those of my other colleagues and teammates. The search feature here makes it really simple to just type in a name, whether that's an assignee, a signer, or the name of a document, or the sender of a document. Anything I want, I can just search for, and I can also filter by status to see which documents have been signed, are still outstanding, what's expired, etc. So you may be saying, well, why is this any better than any number of other ways to do this? So of course, when we look at paper-based workflows, you have to meet with somebody in person, collect a signature, hold on to the original, and then perhaps scan it in to your system of record or whatever you do with it for further processing after that. And then, of course, we have the very straightforward, hey, I'll email this to you. You print it off, sign it, scan it, and give it back to me, which, let's be honest, is just a step above doing it all on paper in the first place, face to face. So we want to make sure that this is easy and efficient to get documents around where they need to be. And of course, as I mentioned, there's no shortage of other tools that can do this on the market. So ShareFile wants to offer you value in being that file repository, being somewhere where you're already sharing the documents with your customers, and you can simply flow e-signature documents right in there. Also, when you look at the way ShareFile is positioned overall, this is a pretty big value-added feature that might help you make room in your budget for something else completely different if you're already paying money for an e-signature tool. So if that's something that's on your radar, I really encourage you to check this out. That being said, let's walk through a brief example of what it looks like to send a document with ShareFile's e-signature. So from my Signatures tab, again, I can monitor everything that's going on, and I have the option to create a signature request where I can self-sign a document. I can send something out to a lot of individuals all at once, the same form, but many different times. Or I can do what we call a more direct one-off signature. This is the most common scenario where we see our users sending out documents. So with our signature request, we can either start this by dragging and dropping a file off of our desktop into this little box here, browsing our ShareFile account right here, or browsing our desktop, or starting from a template. We also have the option to set a signing order if we have more than one recipient, and we can even click here to send in bulk. In this case, I'm going to drag and drop an NDA file from my desktop. And I'll send it to John Doe as a signer. So as you're provisioning roles on the document and people, you can specify additional users as viewers of the document. This is essentially CCing them on this document workflow. They'll be able to check up on the status of it and see when it's completed or signed. But in the most common usage, of course, we've just got a document with a signer that we need to get back. No problem. So we'll fill in a name and email address and continue on to provisioning the document for e-signature. Again, you may have seen this or another e-signature tool in the past. So if you have, then everything should be fairly familiar. You simply select what type of input you want from your signers. Select, for example, text, and place that on your document where you see fit. As you go through and set these up, you have the option to specify which fields are going to be required and add a few other details about them field by field, including on multi-signer documents specifying which fields are assigned to which color-coded user. This is incredibly handy if you've got those more complex documents that have multiple individuals signing. Just walking through the rest here, of course, we have dates, initials, and what would it be without a signature? So we've got our signature box here. And finally, once we're ready to get this document off to our signers, before the final send step, we have the opportunity to name it here, choose where the completed copy is going to land, add any messaging to be included with an email request to sign, set an expiry period, and we can even enable some security options like using a predetermined passcode or using knowledge-based authentication, which in many cases can be a requirement specifically for personal financial data, tax information, etc. So now that has been sent. We can also take a quick look at what it looks like when these are done. So let's look at one from earlier. So we've got a nice filled in document. Signatures in all the right places. And of course, right signatures. And of course, our signature certificate, which provides all the legal details, the full audit trail of the document, and so on and so forth. So let's take a look at ways to templatize this document signing process so that we can repeat it across our team or our organization more reliably every single time. So when I click the Templates tab here, I can actually come in and view all different kinds of templates, which we will dig into a bit more later. So let's look at a document template. In this case, this is just simply a document signing request that's been saved so that I can fill in the blanks and send this over and over again to different individuals. When I'm ready to send one of these templates out, I can choose to edit this if I need to make any changes, move some of the boxes around, etc. I can create a brand new signature request from here, which will take the document and loop it right in. Now this one's already been set up, so all I need to do is enter the recipient's name and email address. And if I have more than one role on this document, then I need to, of course, include the name and email for everyone else on here. After that, I'll simply click Review and Send, and have a chance to alter my notification frequency, etc. about this, set the expiration date, and so on and so forth. Now, I can also share this template to other users within my organization to make sure that they're able to use this to repeat their work as well. And so if I want someone to sign it, I need to select Send as a signature request. But if I want to actually share it with someone else so they can work in the same way I am, I click Share. In this case, I'll just type in one of my fellow ShareFile users' email addresses. And one of the things that has gotten a lot of attention at ShareFile internally, a lot of focus, a lot of effort, has been strengthening the permissions for these types of things. So with our workflows, with our projects, with our electronic signatures, templates, everything else, we now have the option to choose a predetermined permission set for this particular item in question, which we can view the details simply by clicking View. We'll see what a given role has enabled. And just a quick summary, each one of these are some combination of everything we see in the custom role. And the custom role means you're not using pre-selected switches flipped on and off. The custom role means you dial in exactly what you would like. And so you can specify, if I'm sharing this template with someone else, am I giving them view rights? Can they modify or export the files? Change the actual template itself? Share it with anyone else? Delete it? And so on and so forth. And of course, I've got a Select All toggle at the top. And if I want to share this with my colleague here, Ashley, I simply choose what I need, click Save, and we're off to the races once I type any optional message and hit Share. Taking the concept of electronic signature templates one step further is our workflow automation piece. While there is more to come in workflow automation, in its current status, this is a nice blend of electronic signature templates and other repeatable basic steps that you likely take through your electronic signature process in order to, again, streamline it, take some manual work out of the way, etc. So let's take a look at building out one of those workflows. When I click Add Workflow, I can start this off from a template, share it across my organization, but in this case, let's take a look at a blank workflow so we understand what these steps do. So they are currently labeled as manual start, meaning they're triggered or fired off manually, but what's automated is the steps that follow, given that they can be daisy chained to have multiple steps occurring at once. One of the first things to consider is using a trigger variable. These are bits of information that are going to be collected when the workflow is fired off and then plugged into later steps in the workflow. So a good example is collecting a client name, client email address, and maybe even something else like a client company. Now these can be strings of text, which is what we're collecting here, or we can also actually collect a user from our ShareFile address book. For the next step, let's choose an action. Now we have the option to send an email out, so this can generate a message and shoot it out to someone. We can upload a document that's been collected as part of this automated workflow to a given folder in ShareFile, and or we can send a template for electronic signature. One of the strong points of the automated workflows piece is the ability to daisy chain all of these together in as complex of a loop as we need. So for our purposes today, let's highlight all three and click Send a Template for Signature. We will select a template that's already been built out. In this case, we'll use a basic onboarding document, just a really simple form. Next step is, since we want to send this out as an e-signature document, then we need somewhere to send it. So let's refer back to those trigger variables we set up to collect at the beginning of this workflow. We'll choose the client's email. And at any point, we can come back and click the plus sign, add additional steps in between, or at the end. So one of the most common usages here is to take the signed completed document, upload it to a given folder. We can use the variable to determine that we want our electronic signature signed document. And we can even use the name of the template and signed document. And if we want to, we can add on the client's name or some of these other bits of information as part of the file name. And we're able to determine an upload location too. All right, once that looks good, we can save our workflow. With a description to help other users within our organization if we like. And we can also, once we've got this workflow smoothed out and running the way we want it to, we can save this as a template. So if we need to repeat this process over and over again, but for different documents or being filed in different places, etc., but keep the same general format, we can templatize this and make it exposed to our colleagues. And when it comes time to actually run one of these, all we have to do, and we'll look at a previous one for this, is click Start. And we simply fill in whatever trigger variables we've specified. Click Start, and that's it. So in a case where we need an email address or some additional information, we just fill in these three things, click Start, everything else happens automatically. So the intention here is to cut out some of the additional legwork and running around you may have to do after the initial convenience of an electronic signature or some kind of electronic document transfer. What do you have to do with it after that? Rename a file, file it in the right place, perhaps communicate to someone else that it's completed, etc. Again, the idea here is to cut all of that extra work and traffic out and automate it every single time. So in the interest of repeating things that need manual attention over and over again, and taking out the manual aspect of that and automating that for better replicability, consistency, and more efficiency, let's take a look at our template catalog and projects for ShareFile. So first and foremost, we've looked at electronic signatures, we've looked at automated workflows. So far, everything can be templatized. Well, our projects hub and functionality can also be templatized and is recently expanded with some very powerful features that allow fine-grained control of your workflow, your data coming in, and who gets assigned which tasks and deliverables. For example, when we click into a given project, we have a home hub that shows us active document requests, any files that have been collected, any comments that have been issued on assigned tasks, files, etc. And we have separate tabs for each of these categories. A list of tasks, their completion status, their due date, to whom they're assigned, whether we want to get notified about that. And the same thing for our document requests, right? So document requests are very similar to a task list, except for the fact that the task is to aggregate and collect documents from some party. Now, these don't have to be internal or external to your organization. Nothing we've looked at today does, although we do tend to see certain aspects lending themselves to certain usages. But anytime you need to collect a curated list of documents from anyone, document requests are your friend. For example, let's look at this client NDA doc request. Now in this case, I've got one tab with requests for several different key items. They are broken up into specific items that I need to, in this case, finish my client NDA. Now I'm able to select my line items, set a due date, and assign these requests to someone all in one fell swoop. In addition to sharing out the overall monitoring of this request to another individual with a permission set to my spec, as we looked at earlier, and a message if need be. Now, looking at these, again, each one has its own different purpose and needs its own separate set of files or documents that once the assignee has submitted these will be marked for my review, and I can continue on tracking the status and follow this through to completion. What if I need to create a brand new document request for a specific purpose? Well, of course, everything can be templatized. I am able to create a new instance of a document request using a template shared across my team, but I can also either create this instance or start a new template just by telling AI what I need. So let's set this as due this Friday, and let's say we've got a consulting business. And we want to draft up a document specific, or rather a list of documents specific to this industry that we need to collect. Let's see if we can stump the AI for the sale of or transfer of a business. All we do is feed AI a prompt. And here's a list of suggested documents that we should collect and include as part of one document request. We can request these from someone else, request them from someone internally, a partner, vendor, etc., whoever. These are the ones that AI is suggesting: articles of incorporation, business licenses and permits, tax returns, lease agreements, employee records, and so on. Great, so now we can take this entire list, assign it to someone, and away we go. And of course, if we like this, we can actually save this as a template, which means the next time we have a similar set of documents we need to aggregate, we don't have to ask AI again. We've basically bookmarked it, saved it. Hey, I like that one. Let's continue to use it in the future. Likewise, across the entire span of features in ShareFile projects, our information requests, which are essentially questionnaires, right? We're able to collect free text fields, answers to checkboxes, phone numbers, single line answers, numbers, multiple choice, dates, etc. Everything there. When we get one of these fleshed out the way we like, we are also able to templatize this. And so we simply click Save as Template, and then we can deploy these again and again. And the information request tables use whatever labeling we have here. We can assign them to individuals, duplicate as needed, and they store their responses. they store their responses right here. As far as files coming into projects or comments or even project milestones. The parts inside of our project can be templatized and repeated again, and the entire project as a whole can be saved, exported as a template, and used to spin up additional instances of this collection of work items. And last but not least here, of course, the entire suite of workflow productivity functions within ShareFile, again, can be templatized for repeatability and all flow into a template catalog that spans your organization. These are unique to you and your ShareFile account. And this can include signature requests, automated workflows, the entire project. Whatever you need to spin up again, you're able to simply look through your own templates, ones that you've created, or templates that your colleagues have shared with you. Read a description, see who created it in case you have any questions, when it's from, etc. And you can even choose some pre-composed solution templates served up to you from ShareFile, including some pre-composed solution templates baked right into your ShareFile account, including entire projects or just sections of projects like notes, tasks, etc. And again, your workflows, your document signature templates, your project templates, and so on and so forth. So all it takes to redeploy one of these is simply clicking and use template. In this case, it's a project. We create a project. And it all populates in our projects tab. So we've got document requests, we've got info requests, tasks, files, everything all in one place. So that's about it for electronic signature, workflow automation, projects, including document request lists with AI generation. More on AI in a few minutes here. As well as templatized notes, tasks, info requests, and so on and so forth, including our template catalog. With that, I'll throw it over to Ashley for some more information on our AI features and security, among other things.
Thanks, Bruno. I really appreciate you highlighting the value of ShareFile Premium. We've come a long way from our simple file sharing capabilities, especially with how we can enable users to create those organized project spaces and build them quickly using templates. Those spaces make it easy to request data and collaborate with others on project-related tasks. I know you've already alluded to this, but projects allows us to have some benefits of a folder structure, but add a layer of organization and collaboration that standard folders just don't offer. Also, thank you for showcasing our e-signature feature. It's a game changer for customers still relying on pen and paper. It not only modernizes the signing process, but it can also help companies save money on other e-signature tools by bundling it in ShareFile, whether it's just signing documents yourself or sending them out for others to sign. Our goal is to make your work and your life easier. That's why I'm excited to show you some of our new AI features released in ShareFile Premium. We understand that you don't always have time to read through a 20-page document, especially when you've only got 15 minutes before your next meeting. That's where ShareFile Premium can help. With our AI-powered document summarization tool, you can quickly get the answers to your most important questions, saving you time and helping you stay prepared. All right, let's take this rental agreement, for example. It's a 4-page document that I could read, but let's use the AI assistant to summarize this document. I do have the ability to list main points of the document and find action items in the document. But in this case, I'm just going to do a quick summary. I could read through this summary and be up to date on all of the information. But maybe I want to ask a question. Do you allow dogs? Let's see what it says. So now instead of searching through the entire document for this, I can see clearly that they do allow dogs and cats and birds, just not exotic animals. I'm sure you can see how that can save you some time. All right, let's go ahead and jump over and look at another AI feature that centers around security. So we're going to pop back over here to our dashboard. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually look at a document that has some customer or client PII in it, which is that personal identifiable information. How many times have you sent an email or instantly noticed that you'd said something that you shouldn't, or maybe even sent a document that had some personal details in it? It happens. But with our AI Secure Share Recommender, it can review the data within the file that you're about to send and alert you that it may have some personal information in it. It can then prompt you to modify how you want to send it so that it can be sent in a more secure manner. Let's go ahead and look at this customer PII document. If we open it up, we see that there's a social security number, name of a person, we have an address and a phone number. That's information we don't want to get out. But if we go to share this, you'll notice that it notices it. It says that the file has sensitive information and it allows us to then create a secure link. Once we do that, then we can copy this and send it to the people that we need to send it to. This is just one of the ways that we're utilizing AI to make sure that people aren't sending out data that they shouldn't, and also securing our clients' data. Progress is fully committed to building the future of ShareFile with secure AI features that not only help prevent data from being compromised, but also create value by saving you time and resources on essential business tasks. We are continuously exploring ways AI can enhance our product's efficiency and elevate the customer experience. That said, to take advantage of these new and upcoming AI capabilities, please note that they are exclusively available in ShareFile Premium. Let's go ahead and navigate back to the dashboard where we're going to talk about something that I'm excited about. It's our Client Hub. Most of you are utilizing ShareFile due to your need to share with external entities, or we'll call them clients. We've just pushed a new client management experience into our ShareFile Premium called Client Hub. This experience allows us to group individual clients or external entities into companies, as well as view folders and projects that are associated. You can take clients that you've already made connections with and add them to the Client Hub, and even give your clients or companies unique identifiers to differentiate clients and also match records with your other tools that you currently utilize. This space provides so much value because it ties your clients to files and folders, as well as projects, all at a glance. No searching through folder structures just to find a document associated with a specific client. It's all in one spot. All right, let's go ahead and look at our new Client Hub. If we hop in here, the first thing that we see is a list of clients. And this list can be individual clients or even companies. And in order to build out that list, we can go ahead and create a client. But as you can see, you can search for clients and specify based on the client type. Also, you have the ability to show only your clients. So maybe you're working with a specific set of clients and you only need to see yours. You can do that as well. All right, let's go ahead and create that client. In this case, we're just going to create a company and associate a client that we've already worked with this company. In this case, we're going to do John's Lawn Care. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add from an existing client that we have. Let's do John Doe. We can also provide a client ID that would be unique to them. And then we're going to go ahead and click Create. That is going to build out our client. And the client is actually a company. What we can now do is associate that client or company with folders that we already associate with them in ShareFile. So let's go ahead and just, for example, browse some folders. If we had a company folder for this lawn care business, we would actually select it. So let's go into shared folders, maybe under client folders. We'll say this is their specific folder that they have associated with John's Lawn Care. Let's go ahead and add it. And you can see that directly in the Client Hub. Also, if they had projects associated with it, you would see those in here as well. So let's go ahead and really quickly create a project real quick. Actually, we can even create a project in the Client Hub under John's Lawn Care. But I'm going to kind of show you how to link an existing project with John's Lawn Care. So let's go back to projects. We have this Acme HR onboarding, but it's not linked to a client yet. Let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to select link to client. We're going to say we want this to be linked to John, his lawn care business, and we're going to go ahead and link it. Now you can see this project is now associated with John's Lawn Care. And if we go back to the Client Hub, we can also see that in here. Let's navigate to John's Lawn Care. We can then see some information about items in the project that still need to be done. But if we look at the projects, we can see that onboarding. We can see his files. And then we also have the ability to add other contacts to John's Lawn Care. So maybe John isn't the only one working under John's Lawn Care. Maybe we can add another contact. We can create it directly from this space, or we can also do it from an existing person. And for this example, we're going to do Alan. We can actually select him and then add him. We also have suggested contacts down here. So if there is someone that has a similar email address, it may pop up here as a suggested contact, and then you can just add them directly from the suggested contact instead of having to actually go and search for them, which makes this super easy and super convenient. All right, now we have our 3 clients that are working for John's Lawn Care in here, and then we can continue to work with them in a space that allows us to see those files, those projects, and then also things that we still need to do with this company, like requesting their personal documents and financial documents associated with the project. It leaves those tasks front and center for you to action on. So now that we've showed you how we can organize clients and companies in one space with their data, we want to show you the new client experience. Let me ask you a question. How does a new client experience help you? Well, clients only want a couple things. They want to be able to easily access their account, and they want to know what they're supposed to be doing once they get access. The new client experience addresses both of those aspects. So in order to do this, we need to log in to that new client experience. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so I just logged in as a client on my account, and as you can see, the UI is different, and that is what we're talking about when we talk about the new client experience. When they log in, the first thing that they're going to be able to see is their open tasks. These are tasks associated with their project that they're on. So these are things that they need to do in order to submit information, whether it's a document or an information request, or even sign a document. We have the ability to show that front and center, and then they also have their folders that they've maybe worked with you on and accessed. They have their inbox, they have the recent files and favorites, and they're going to be able to do everything in this new area just like they were able to do before, but with an updated UI that allows them to look at tasks front and center and then go ahead and do what they need to do in order to get that information to you. All right, so popping back over into our regular experience, I did just want to mention that if your clients are happy, then your company does well. Hopefully you can see the value in a more streamlined client experience. Now, let's look at some of our integrations that you can utilize with ShareFile Premium. In order to access those, you would just go up here to Catalog. Once that loads, we are then going to select Integrations. And then you can see a list here. FreshBooks, File Export, Pipedrive, File Export, QuickBooks, File Export, Salesforce Document Generator, Salesforce File Export, and Xero File Export. If you'd like to know more about these integrations, please refer to our documentation. While I can't tell you what new integrations are coming, I'll just say be on the lookout because we're always looking to add more. The last but certainly not least topic for this webinar is centered around compliance. If you're a healthcare or finance customer, you may want to tune in here. For those of you that need HIPAA or FINRA compliance, we do offer accounts that provide this. If you're asking yourself why would you need this, then let me explain. For healthcare organizations, a HIPAA compliant ShareFile account ensures that sensitive patient data is handled in accordance with federal privacy regulations, offering secure storage, restricted sharing features, and a signed business associate agreement, BAA, to support compliance. Meanwhile, financial service firms benefit from FINRA compliant accounts that enable immutable data archiving, long-term retention, and audit readiness, critical for meeting regulatory obligations around record keeping and client communications. Both account types are purpose-built to help organizations in highly regulated industries protect data, reduce risk, and maintain trust. If you're interested in the ShareFile Premium plan based on something you've seen today, please reach out to your customer success engineer and we can get you in touch with your account manager to give you some more information on upgrading as well as pricing. You can get in touch with your CSE by selecting the resource page on your ShareFile account. The resource page is down in the bottom right-hand corner. Then select Contact Your Success Engineer. And from there, you can see your success engineer will show up. And then all you have to do is click Let's Connect and fill out the information.